Super Bowl 57 is now set. The Philadelphia Eagles will clash with the Kansas City Chiefs in Glendale.
I mean, you don't have to do that every time, but I do appreciate it.
I know it. Journalists here, folks. This will take place in Glendale, Arizona, very close to where I went to high school.
Yeah.
It will take place February 12th. Both teams are the top seeds for each conference, of course. The Chiefs are chasing their second championship in the last 4 years, while the Eagles are hoping to win their second in the last 6. Joining us now in Studio 57 to preview this big game is the one and only JP, CBS News special correspondent James Brown. He's also host of the NFL Today and Inside the NFL, which streams exclusively on Paramount+. A warm welcome to you, sir.
I'm smiling because Anne-Marie has her guys in the studio. She has us so well trained. You looked over at her as you mentioned the Eagles.
I started to feel guilty, which is why I was like, okay,
McMaster is
you don't have to
holding
do
up
it.
sheets and things.
Hey, but my producers, Jen Leeser and Harry Forbes, they've moved the Eagles down to late in the rundown so we can make sure we get the other topics in too. Go ahead.
So let's at least get a little Chiefs love in here first. They're heading to the Super Bowl third in 4 years. I don't want to say favorites to win, but they're battling some injuries. What's their biggest barrier to success?
Well, hoping that their squad can get as healthy as possible. Look, at this time of the year, nobody's healthy at all. I mean, it's a tough sport, and they slug through. Patrick Mahomes, he was probably the picture of toughness and grit getting through last week. We know him as being the very mobile, fluid quarterback. He had to play a more traditional style under center, taking a snap, but he was still just as effective. However, when he saw that rush coming at him, rather than take a hit, he just threw the ball on the ground or threw it away so as to protect himself in that regard. But give the Chiefs an awful lot of credit. Andy Reid, the head coach, doing a remarkable job with a lot of youngsters on that team as well, too. But they will need to be at full strength for Coach Anne-Marie's squad, for sure.
But it's true that no one's at 100%. And I kind of like, I hate to say this in some ways, but the last 2 games that the Eagles played, they were boring. But the good news is, because Jalen Hurts is not 100% either, I thought, well, at least, he's not getting beat up for the last 2 games. And hopefully by Super Bowl time, he'll be at full strength.
Close to it. Yeah, again, you won't be at full strength. But before we leave the Chiefs, let me make sure I give Chris Jones, that defensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs, an awful lot of credit. He was just a monster. 2 of the 5 sacks that the Chiefs got on Joe Burrow of Cincinnati were by Chris Jones. Phenomenal. Hey, as a matter of fact, Jen Leeser and Harry and I didn't talk about this, but key point. You don't give another team bulletin board material before you go into that matchup. Cincinnati was confident. They got to the point of being a little cocky, but they could back it up. Then it became arrogance when their mayor got involved, talking about they wanted to have a paternity test done on Joe Burrow to see if he was Patrick Mahomes' daddy. I mean, you don't give him bulletin board material, and they played as well because of that. So, yeah, no question.
So I could go sort of several different directions with this.
Quarterback, so we do have talk about history being made.
Yeah.
And Chloe wasn't even in my ear because she wanted to move that up. 2 African-American quarterbacks for the first time playing in the Super Bowl. It is so nice to see that there wasn't this talk leading up to it because they've been doing it for a while. But Harry Forbes, my producer, was making me aware, as a youngster, he remembers hearing conversation about black quarterbacks. Well, they don't have the mental acuity to be able to play that position. They bring physicality, running skills to the table. These 2 quarterbacks are complete in every category. Brilliant young men.
So true.
Look here, and there can't be enough said about Jalen Hurts. He is just awesome. Patrick has been there for a minute. He's been the standard, but you love doing profiles on people like Jalen Hurts. The team feeds off of him. He's a smart kid. He's not a braggadocious type at all. He just goes out and gets it done, and those grizzled old veterans on the team really like him and follow his lead. By the way, I know the Broad Street Bullies normally is the name given to the Philadelphia Flyers, but call the Philadelphia Eagles that because they've got a bruising defensive line and offensive line, but that defense, they are just tough. They eat bricks for breakfast, to say the least.
Yeah. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Always great to have you, sir.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Nice
hey, they brought a normal-looking guy on the set with you two here, right?
This guy, super